Chair, we can start.
All right. Good evening and welcome everyone to the Youth Commission meeting on February 23rd, 2026. I now call this meeting to order at 6:31 p.m. And Sim, do we have quorum?
Can you take roll first before we
Yes,
call
perfect.
quorum?
Of course. All right. Starting with roll call, District 1,
Present.
District 2, Vice Chair Pradeep Kumar,
Present.
District 3, Commissioner Sanchez, District 4, Commissioner Babu,
Present.
District 5, Commissioner Guerrero, District 6, Commissioner Canfield,
Present.
District 7, Commissioner Huynh,
Present.
District 8, Commissioner Chung,
Present.
District 9, Commissioner Yu,
Present.
District 10, Commissioner Park,
Present.
and Citywide Commissioner Kudreski. I am here. All right, so we have quorum. Moving on to our next action item number 2, we will now move to ask if there's any discussion of the consent calendar. All right, do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I, Commissioner Park, motion to approve the consent calendar.
Do we have any seconds?
I, Commissioner Babu, second the motion.
All right, all those in favor, please vote on your screen. All those who oppose and any abstentions, please vote on your screens as well. All right, this vote unanimously passes. Moving on to item number 3, we have open forum. Are there any members of the public who wish to comment on any agenda items?
There are none.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item number 4, discussion/action items. We now have a report from Councilmember Campos to give the council liaisons report.
Good evening, Commission. I am here to share a little bit of what has happened over the past few weeks at Council and what is to come in March. We've got some very important Council items to share. So first, I'll start with the Housing Day recap. At the end of January, we had a meeting that was packed with housing policy. We heard the mobile home rent ordinance, which is going to be voted on in the fall of 2026. And so there was no action taken that night, but that will be coming back to council later this year. A couple of notable changes in policy included changes to the inclusionary housing ordinance, the downtown high-rise incentive, the multifamily housing ordinance, and essentially what these changes did is the aim is to create a environment that developers can make sure that their projects are able to come online and come to fruition. And so those changes that council made were with that end goal in mind, that we will see more projects able to begin construction in San Jose because of these changes. We also had an item at our previous council meeting on the TOT, the transit occupancy tax. And so we, as council, approved a general tax that is going to increase our TOT tax, which is a tax that is paid by people who are visiting the city of San Jose. So it's a tax that you see on your hotel bill when you are spending a night in San Jose. It's tax that isn't going to be coming from us as residents or business owners in the city. And so it's going to be increasing that tax by 2%, and it's going on our June 2026 ballot, and that money as a general tax would go back into our general fund. And we also are in the process of learning about a potential parks revenue measure. So last month, District 2 started off the community forum series that is going to be happening in every district throughout the city, where Parks and Rec team will be out listening to residents and understanding what needs their parks have in their district, and then exploring the two options that the city is looking at to generate revenue, which is a sugary beverage tax and a parcel tax. And so this year-long listening session is going to then inform council on how our community residents are feeling about a potential parks revenue measure. Last thing, which is coming to council that I just wanted to get on your radar, is the March budget message next month. So on March 17th, we will be, as council, having that first open hearing with the public and reviewing the mayor's March budget message. It's a very important conversation as we are learning about what issues the city is going through, such as affordability. We're seeing school closures, and so we know that there are issues that that are going to be very important to our youth, to make sure that you're weighing in on what are those city services that are best supporting your ability to be great students, to be great community partners and neighbors in our community. And so that meeting will be, again, March 17th. The last thing to note is that the San Jose 2026 Sports Merchandise and Visitor Center, known as the Locker Room, is now open. And so it is a place to get your San Jose 2026 swag. It's open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we look forward to more celebrations on sports and entertainment this year, with March Madness coming into San Jose next month, and then the FIFA World Cup around the corner. So those are my updates. Any questions?
Thank you so much for coming out here, Councilmember Campos. We really appreciate you keeping us informed, even with your busy schedule serving District 2. But before we go on to questions, I want to ask, do we have any public comment?
We do not.
All right, the floor is now open for commissioners to ask questions. All right, looks like there's no questions. Oh, yes, Commissioner Deschmuck.
I didn't have the opportunity to come to the January Youth Commission meeting, so this is my first time back in City Hall for a while. And I did see a lot of the San Jose 2026 decorations around City Hall. And I guess I was just wondering more about what the goal of that initiative was of San Jose 2026.
Yeah, so we know that we are one of 3 large cities in the Bay Area. When I say large cities, I'm talking about San Francisco, Oakland, and San Jose that have airports that are close to our cities. And so the San Jose 2026 campaign is a way to invite the community to stay, play, and fly in San Jose. So flying into our airport, staying in our hotels, visiting our restaurants and our activities. So that's the campaign, and the reason behind SJ26 is to really create a brand that invites tourism into our city.
All right, and then I also had a question of my own. Did you manage to attend the Super Bowl recently?
No, I did not attend at Levi Stadium, no.
Okay, yeah. Just wondering, since it was such a big event, and I know that they tried to include a lot of San Jose culture as well as figures in the event. So,
Yeah.
but anyways, thank you for your time. Any other questions before we move on? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to our next item, we will now be reviewing the 2025 Youth Commission Priorities Survey results. So this part is done by me and Neha. We will be going over the entire presentation. So stay tuned. Okay, so tonight we're presenting results from our annual Youth Priorities Survey. We conduct this survey every year to better understand what matters to young people in San Jose, so the Youth Commission can effectively inform and advocate on their behalf, especially during the budget deliberations. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge important context. This survey launched on November 24th, 2025. 5 days later, there was a shooting at Valley Fair Mall on Black Friday. As we review the safety findings, we understand that young people were responding to real experiences, not abstract concerns. Okay, so 643 young people participated with an 82% completion rate, pretty high. This response gives us strong credibility when advocating to decision makers. The key finding on outreach, 510 responses came through email, primarily via schools and youth organizations, and social media generated only 12 responses. This is quite odd for our generation, as most things are through social media, so keep that in mind. Moving on, we have several demographic shifts to help explain the priorities that we're going to see. So 72% of respondents are in high school, which is up 16% from last year. This means we're primarily hearing from young people actively planning their immediate futures within the next 1 to 4 years. 63% of respondents identify as women, which is up 9% from last year. This gender shift likely contributes to heightened safety concerns. 13% consider themselves low income, 23% are first generation in the US, and 10% would be the first in their family to attend college. These demographics help explain why economic security and college affordability are prominent priorities for this year. We receive responses across all 10 district council districts and diverse backgrounds, representing a broad cross-section of San Jose youth. While District 8 had the highest representation, responses came from all 10 council districts. Youth priorities are citywide concerns and are not neighborhood specific. This strengthens the case for citywide investment when we advocate. Here are the top priorities rated on a scale of 1 to 5. First, we have balance and safety, which is 4.30. 60% rated this as the highest priority. Housing affordability is second with 4.29. 56% rated this as the highest priority. Third is poverty and housing insecurity, which had a score of 4.18. 48% rated this as the highest priority. Number 4 is meaningful and sustaining jobs with a score of 4.12. 47% rated this as the highest priority. There's then a significant drop to quality educational resource equity with 3.99, quality mental health resource equity with 3.62. Notice housing appears twice in the top 4, and 3 of the 4 are directly economic issues. These priorities are interconnected. You cannot feel safe without stable housing, cannot afford housing without employment, and cannot focus on education or mental health when basic security needs are unmet. Young people are demonstrating systems thinking. Our advocacy should reflect these connections, showing how investment in one area supports progress in others. And one other thing I want to point out with the housing and poverty point on here, we recently added a new category. We split the housing to make sure that we could address specifically economic status and housing versus poverty and housing insecurity. Those are 2 separate things. As you can see here. That's why there's only 1 bar for one of them. All right, so 2 significant year-over-year changes. Meaningful and sustaining jobs increased from 3.95 to 4.12, while housing affordability debuted at 4.29, immediately landing at number 2. The trend is clear. Economic security is becoming increasingly urgent in San Jose. This reflects young people's reality. Over the past 2 years, they've witnessed massive tech layoffs. Meta eliminated 21,000 positions, Google 12,000, Amazon 27,000. Simultaneously, they're hearing that AI may automate entry-level jobs before they can even access them outside of college. Quality mental health resource equity dropped from 3.86 to 3.62. This doesn't mean mental health matters less. It means when young people are overwhelmed by safety and economic concerns, mental health becomes something they're managing in crisis rather than prioritizing for advocacy. Economic instability is a mental health crisis. These cannot be addressed separately. Okay, So we also have some quotes from the survey data. These quotes illustrate the systems thinking young people bring to these issues. First is, for youth to focus on education and work, they need a safe and comfortable place to live and access to meals regularly. Meaningful job opportunities are the most important. When everyone has money and opportunity, all the other problems automatically get better. I lost my childhood home in a fire, and it was hard to find a house that fit our budget. Homeless people suffer in the cold with nowhere to sleep, and people in poverty feel like things will never get better. Young people aren't just identifying isolated problems, they're articulating how economic stability, safety, and educational success are interconnected. Next, perceptions of safety. We asked young people to rate how safe they feel in different locations. This contrast reveals a critical access issue. The safest spaces were community centers or libraries. Only 82% feel safe. In neighborhoods, 79 feel safe. These things should be close to 100, not this low. The least safe spaces were public transportation. Only 24% feel safe, and 37% feel unsafe. The problem, safe spaces exist and young people recognize them. But if 37% feel unsafe on public transportation, those safe destinations become inaccessible to many. Addressing safety requires both safe destinations and safe routes to reach them. Investment in youth programming without safe transportation infrastructure leaves significant populations unable to benefit from these investments. All right, again, safety concerns and third spaces. 23.7% cited gun violence or gang activity as their biggest safety concern, nearly 1 in 4. This survey was running when the Valley Fair shooting occurred on Black Friday. When young people cite gun violence as a concern, they're responding to events at places they actually go to. We also asked, does San Jose have enough safe spaces for youth to gather? 80% said no. We need more, or I don't know. Only 8.7% said yes. The combination is significant. Safety is the #1 priority. Gun violence occurred at a teen destination during the survey period. 80% report insufficient safe spaces, and 37% feel unsafe on transportation to access whatever spaces already exist. This represents a critical infrastructure gap that directly affects young people's ability to safely access programs and opportunities. Youth solutions. When asked what would make San Jose better for young people, responses were specific and practical. More safe and accessible youth spaces like community centers with free programs after school and on weekends. These spaces would give young people a place to study, be creative, play sports, and connect. Career opportunities through the library, where representatives from different careers come teach knowledge and skills about specific majors. Safer bike lanes. The safer they are, the more likely other kids will bike to school too. Young people are proposing integrated solutions that address multiple priorities simultaneously. A community center with career workshops addresses safety, a place to go, employment, career skills, and education in a single investment. This is the kind of efficient, systems-based thinking that should inform budget advocacy. Youth perception of city government. We asked young people to agree or disagree with this statement. The local city of San Jose government reflects youth priorities. 50.6%, more than half, said neutral or I don't know. Breaking down the responses, 33% agree to some degree, 16% disagree, but 50.6% simply lack the information needed to make a conclusion. This is not primarily a trust problem, it's an information problem. Young people aren't saying government is unresponsive. They're saying they don't know what the government is doing. If young people don't know about youth employment programs, housing resources, or safety initiatives, those programs cannot help them. Creating programs isn't enough. We need to ensure young people know they exist and how they can access them. Year-over-year government perception. The information gap is actually growing. The I don't know response increased from 46.1% last year to 50.6% this year. That's a huge jump. Agreement stayed relatively stable, with 37.3% agreeing in 24 to 25 fiscal year and only 33.1% agreeing in the 2025 to 2026 fiscal year. Disagreement also remained stable at around 16%. The growing I don't know percentage suggests that communication about city government youth initiatives is getting less effective, not more effective. Youth voices on government. Open-ended responses reveal both the information gap and openness to engagement. I keep up with state, county, and world politics, but I'm not sure where I would begin to get city politics information. This is someone civically engaged at multiple levels, with no entry point to local government. There's demonstrated interest in supporting youth, but actual youth-oriented policies and events can be sparse and limited by funding. Young people recognize intention, but want to see the follow-through from the government. They understand resource constraints, and they want transparency about them. Young people are open to engagement and want information. That's the main takeaway from this slide. All right, now Neha's going to take over.
Okay. So when the youth of San Jose were asked what their post-secondary plans were, 76% plan to pursue higher education, 57% at a four-year college, and 19% at community college. Yet housing affordability, which ranked 4.29, and the cost of college, which 15.79% cite as a barrier, remain top concerns. 3/4 of young people are planning educational pathways they're uncertain they can afford. This disconnect between aspiration and perceived affordability creates significant stress and may deter students from pursuing the education they're academically prepared for. The challenge isn't just college access, it's college affordability and the financial literacy to navigate the process. Okay. Preparedness for post-secondary life. The gaps between plans and preparation are significant. Only 29% feel prepared to understand financial aid, yet 76% plan for higher education. Only 26% feel prepared to find jobs or internships, yet meaningful jobs is a number 4 priority. But 47% feel prepared to apply for college. And this makes the pattern very clear. Young people feel prepared for application processes, but not for financial realities or accessing opportunities. The system teaches how to apply, but not how to afford or succeed. This gap should inform advocacy for financial literacy programming and career readiness support. Regarding barriers to preparedness, the top 3 barriers align directly with the priorities. Number 1 being not knowing what career path to pursue, with 15.97%. Number 2 being the cost of college or training programs at 15.79%. And the lack of job or internship opportunities at 14.83%. For this, context matters. Young people are navigating massive tech layoffs, rapid AI-driven changes to entry-level job markets, and escalating house costs. 16% career uncertainty in this context isn't indecision. It's a realistic assessment of an unstable landscape. When career paths are unpredictable, hands-on experience and professional connections become more important than ever for making informed decisions. When asked what would be most helpful right now, number 1 being job shadowing or internship opportunities at 16.73%, and number 2 being connections to professionals at 15.9%. 32.63% want real-world experience and professional mentorship, not classroom instruction or information sessions. This makes strategic sense given economic uncertainty. When you can't predict which jobs will exist in 5 years, the best preparation is to develop adaptable skills through real-world experience, communication, problem-solving, and professional judgment. Regarding career aspirations, 28% aspire to go into a healthcare or medical career, by far the largest field, more than double any other category. When asked why these careers matter, 80% cited passion or desire to help others, and When asked why these careers matter, 80% cited passion, so 41.4%, or desire to help others at 39.2%, not financial gain. Young people are gravitating towards careers requiring human connection, empathy, and complex judgment, such as healthcare, education, social work, and the creative arts. These are precisely the capabilities AI cannot replicate. This has implications for career development programming, which should support diverse pathways, not just technology careers. These are also careers our community needs. We face nursing, teacher, and child care worker shortages. Several responses illustrate the depth of thought behind career aspirations. I want to be a criminal lawyer for youth. I've seen how childhood trauma scars people. I want to support them legally and emotionally. Another one says nursing because I want to be there for people when they're sick, scared, or in pain. Electrician. I like hands-on work, it pays well, and I want to help my parents. As you can tell, these aren't generic statements. They're specific goals rooted in lived experience and clear about the desired impact. Young people want meaningful work that serves others. Our role is to ensure affordable pathways exist in order to achieve those goals. Support systems. 75% report having at least one supportive adult, whether that be a family member, teacher, coach, or community member. However, only 4.9% receive support through formal programs or organizations. This represents significant untapped potential. Informal support exists, but formal structured programs reach less than 5% of young people. In a context where industries change rapidly and traditional career advice becomes outdated quickly, young people can benefit from access to multiple professionals and diverse perspectives that formal programs can provide at a scale. Expanding formal mentorship and support systems would represent a substantial improvement in youth support infrastructure. When asked what youth are excelling or struggling with this year, 26% reported to be struggling academically, more than 1 in 4, and 13% are struggling with mental health. Connecting this to earlier data, mental health resource equity decreased as a priority from 3.86 to 3.62. Yet 13% actively struggle with mental health. This suggests mental health has become something young people manage in crisis rather than prioritize for advocacy, crowded out by more immediate survival concerns like safety or economic security. Consider the compounding stressors, safety concerns including gun violence at familiar locations, economic uncertainty from layoffs and AI disruption, college affordability anxiety, unsafe public transportation, and housing insecurity. Academic performance, mental health, economic stability, and safety are interconnected. Effective interventions must recognize how these challenges compound rather than treating them as isolated issues. Regarding key findings, 643 young people across all 10 council districts told us what matters most: economic security and safety. Collected during the Valley Fair shooting and amid massive tech layoffs, this data reflects real challenges young people face every single day. The top priorities are interconnected. You can't feel safe without stable housing, can't afford houses without jobs, and can't focus on education or mental health when your basic security needs are unmet. We identified 4 key findings in this. First, economic security drives everything. 3 of the top 4 priorities are economic issues. Housing affordability debuted at 4.29 and immediately landed at number 2. Meaningful jobs increased from 3.96 to 4.12. And here's the disconnect. 76% plan for college, but only 29% feel prepared to understand financial aid. Second, there's a critical safety infrastructure gap. Violence and safety is the #1 priority, 60% rated it the highest. But 80% say San Jose lacks sufficient safe youth spaces. Only 8.7% think we have enough. 37% of respondents feel unsafe on public transportation, which means even when safe spaces exist, young people can't reach them safely. Third, young people want experience, not just instruction. 32.63% want job shadowing, internships, or connections to professionals. That's the #1 and #2 most helpful resources. yet only 4.9% receive support through formal programs. That's massive untapped potential, and 80% are motivated by passion or helping others, not money. They're choosing careers AI can't replace. Fourth, there's a growing information gap. 50.6% don't know if the city government reflects youth priorities. That's up from 46.1% last year. The gap is growing, not shrinking, and young people can't access programs they don't know exist. Young people aren't just identifying problems, they're proposing solutions. They want safe spaces and safe transportation to reach them. They want financial literacy alongside college access. And they're choosing careers focusing on helping others in fields requiring human skills. The challenge isn't youth readiness, it's more about removing barriers. Despite economic uncertainty and safety concerns, young people remain solution-oriented and very specific about their needs. The Youth Commission will use these findings to advocate for integrated investments that address safety, economic opportunity, and access simultaneously. The Youth Commission's role is to ensure youth voices inform budget decisions and policy. The Budget Priority Summit this Saturday, February 28th at 11 a.m. is where we will turn these findings into budget advocacy. Yes, thank you.
All right. Do we have any public comment on that?
No, we do not.
All right. The floor is now open for commissioner discussion and questions. Feel free to ask any questions, whether it be logistical or about the content. Was there someone in the audience? Public comment? Okay, continuing with discussion.
I just wanted to ask, oh, sorry, this is Commissioner Chung asking. I just wanted to ask, was there a geographical breakdown for those results? Based on which district?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, was there like a breakdown per district for the responses that were logged?
We do have a breakdown somewhere in the data. I don't think we included it on the slides.
It's in the slides.
It
It's
is in-
one of the first slides. You'll see, it's slide number 4, thank you. It's up against where respondents identified going to school, as well as where they live based upon zip code. Now, zip code doesn't break evenly along district lines, but we do our best.
Now, was
So the light green is where they identified going to school. Evergreen Valley High School is our highest number of respondents. And then the dark green is where they live.
now, Michael, were you asking for a breakdown of specific data, as in how many people voted for mental health in your district, or no?
Yeah, I just wanted to see if there's a way for, like, to see like per district what the biggest concerns were, if that's possible.
Megan, did you want to speak on that?
We can look at that offline. In general, we use this data collectively, but we can look at trying to pull out some of that information if you need.
Yeah, we have the data if you want to analyze it. So, all right, any other questions? All right, moving on to our next item. We have the letter to council, termination of automated license plate reader cameras. So, Commissioner Chung will be leading this. Basically, it's going to be an overview of a letter we are currently writing in the works to City Council. Commissioner Chung, do you want to take over now?
Yeah, do we hear public comment before this or after?
We do it after your report. Basically, if you could just go over the basics for what it is, and then also your plan on what you're going to include in the letter to City Council.
Okay, so our letter that we're drafting to City Council is just a written proposal to do two things. So we're recommending one, that the city terminates the contract with Flock Group Incorporated, effective immediately as soon as they get it, and also pursue legal recourse for any breaches in data. And then we also want to recommend that they reinstitute ALPRs if and or when an alternative is identified contingent on the criteria for that contractor meeting certain standards like a high security system, safeguards against any unauthorized data usage, breach, and or security attacks. So the reason we're writing this letter is because our city has a contract with Flock Safety, which operates automated license plate recognition cameras and an AI database that contains all of those license plates, keeps track of where they are, so that police can have access to them. The problem with Flock specifically is that the way their system is designed and through the safety measures of that company, they have allowed for multiple data breaches for agencies and third parties that we don't want accessing the data of San Jose residents, getting access to that data. Their system has access, or shares San Jose's data to over 380 different points through which someone could theoretically gain access to our license plate data. The current updated file, I believe, says around 100-ish or so, but on the Flock website, they claim around over 300, 380. So the goal basically is just to establish one that city officials already have a commitment not to work with immigrations and customs enforcement to potentially harass any undocumented peoples within San Jose. The Flock data breach specifically often has come, unfortunately, shared data with Immigration and Customs Enforcement specifically so that they can go after said groups of people. So we want to establish one, that the city has committed not to working with ICE. Two, the SJPD has committed to not working with ICE. And crucially, that in order for this data to be shared with ICE, it doesn't rely on there being any breaches in city code or city ordinances by SJPD themselves. There's no evidence for SJPD at all, making any or sharing any San Jose data outside of what they are authorized to do. The problem is that in the network that Flock has created, there are multiple different points where police departments throughout the state of California can and have shared data with ICE, per ICE requests. I believe I can cite the specific departments if you'll give me a second. I believe it is in. Let's see here. I'll find out later. But different police agencies and sheriff departments throughout San Jose, I believe particularly in Orange County and in LA, have gone ahead and shared Flock data with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So that leaves the door open potentially for the city cameras here in San Jose and for the data collected on San Jose residents to be used maliciously to target those groups of people. And obviously in a city that has a very large population of immigrants, is over 40% foreign-born, and that is experiencing, in many regards, an increasing anxiety among Asian, Hispanic communities as to the activities of ICE. It is not. It is not within city values. It's not within youth commission values to allow for any possibility of that data to be exploited by ICE to occur. So we essentially just want to follow the precedent that has been established by other cities. There are cities, the city of Cambridge in Massachusetts, Santa Cruz here in California has done this as well, as have Hillsborough, North Carolina, Staunton in Virginia, Cambridge in Massachusetts. I think I might have already mentioned that. Flagstaff in Arizona, Eugene in Oregon, Denver in Colorado, and Austin in Texas. So there is a precedent for these kinds of actions. We essentially just want to write to encourage the city council to take a stand on this and to terminate Flock's contract, and then try and find a more trustworthy and reputable provider for ALPRs in the future.
All right, so now what the commission will be doing is we will be discussing whether or not we want to add anything to this letter in addition to what Mike has already said. Please think carefully about this matter, as well as feel free to speak any of your opinions so that we can discuss and come to some conclusions about what to include. So this is open speaking time.
Can we take public comment first, please?
Yes. Do you have any public comment?
We have three speakers. Please come to the podium in the order I am calling your name. You have 2 minutes to speak. So first will be Leah, Yash, and Christopher. Leah, come on down.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Laya Krishnan, and I'm a student at Evergreen Valley High School and co-chair of the District 8 Youth Council Committee. I'm here today to urge you to support the termination of our city's contract with Flock Safety. I want to speak to something simple, something that doesn't require a memorandum to understand. None of us should have to live with the feeling that we are being watched, that every time we drive to school or to work or to a friend's house, a camera is recording where we've been, building a picture of our lives that we never consented to share. For families in our city, that feeling is very real. Flock breaches have sent license plate and location data to unknown systems. It's the reason a parent might hesitate before driving their kid to a doctor's appointment. It's the reason a grandmother is afraid to leave her house. It is exhausting to grow up already knowing that the world is watching you and that you have no say in it. We as youth know what it means to want privacy and to have spaces that belong to us. That right shouldn't disappear the moment you step into a car, and it certainly shouldn't be sold off to the lowest bidder. The data Flock Safety collects on San Jose residents has already spread to over 380 outside systems, systems our city has no control over. It's not a network of protection, it's a net that we are all caught in. And when agencies in our own state have misused the data, shared it without knowledge or consent, that data becomes a matter of who in this city gets to feel safe and who doesn't. No one's morning routine should be evidence. No one's daily life should be a file somewhere that can be opened without their knowledge. I hope we're all on the same page here. The families of San Jose deserve better than this. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Hello? Okay. Hello, my name is Yashason Prakash. I'm a student here and resident of San Jose, and I'm here to express my support for the proposal recommending the termination of the city's contract with Flock Safety. For many young people, this discussion is not just about technology, but about privacy, community trust, and how safe people feel in their own neighborhoods. When there are concerns about data security and potential misuse of surveillance systems, it can create real anxiety, especially for families and communities who already feel vulnerable. I appreciate that this proposal recognizes both the benefits of ALPR technology and the importance about strong safeguards, transparency, and local control. Supporting policies that prioritize residents' rights and protect public trust is critical for the long-term well-being of our city. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you for your comment.
Hello, I wanted to say I'm really happy about your work on this letter. It's really important, right? And I want to also come out very publicly and state my full and utter support for the city to divest from Flock. Not a cent should go to Flock. And it's not because of some sort of like childish hippie belief that, oh, you know, we don't need any security whatsoever. I get why people want to have it. There's benefits, obviously. But you don't need to use Flock, and you don't need a private company to do mass surveillance, right? From a factual basis, Flock is also just not a reliable company, right? They've had multiple data breaches and they sell information to whoever they really want because they're a company, they want to turn a profit. And if we're going to be quite honest, the only reason why this is even on the ballot is because Matt Mahan receives endorsements from Peter Thiel, the owner. And it's something where we need to not just acknowledge the crimes which Flock is committing towards our neighbors, our family, our friends, but also we need to address this at the root issue, which is donors, right? I would recommend that this letter also add an aspect which states that if the city makes a contract with a dealer or with a partner who is private, they need to publicly disclose that the donors to elected officials, and state, did they make a contract with someone who received endorsements or donations from those individuals. Constituents deserve to know that. Constituents deserve to feel heard, safe, and protected. And I would encourage the letter to also include that, because if we do care about disclosure in our community, we have to force the city to follow through with that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Do we have any other public comment before we move on?
No, we don't.
All right, so back to what I was saying, this is commission discussion time. Also, if any of you guys want to add that last point about disclosing contract details for private companies, that is already in Micah's letter, so don't worry about adding that. So, do we have any comments or discussion we'd like to bring up? Things to include in this letter that you find necessary for council to take into consideration?
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly jump in. I know I mentioned the agencies that shared the data. I found it. So the San Diego County Sheriff's Department, the Orange County Sheriff's Office, and the Los Angeles Police Department, all of whom get access to San Jose data, have previously breached California law and shared that data with ICE. And I also do want to mention, because it was brought up in the comment, AOPRs. I think this letter should recognize that ALPRs are a very crucial technology for SJPD. SJPD, frankly, is underfunded and doesn't really have the ability to, cover the whole city effectively. I know, at least in my district, I heard from a member of SJPD who said that there are around 4 officers for an entire area at any given time. But I think the broader concern here is that there are other options. There are other companies like Axon or SoundThinking who can offer these ALPR solutions. I think the concern is that we are choosing to operate with a company that in many ways is antithetical to our city values and to our commission's values, and is a danger, I think, to the residents of San Jose and to our governments, and is risking creating a crisis of public trust in both the city government and in SGPD itself. So I think for this letter, it'd be important for us to acknowledge the reality that this is going to harm SGPD, that this is not, like a clear black and white, a good or bad situation, but that I think, at least in my view, that it is necessary because, the safety of our residents, I think, comes first.
Commissioner Deschmuck?
On to the point of what we can include in the letter, I think that precedent would always be really important in strengthening the case. So I did have a question for Commissioner Chung. For the precedent you mentioned in Santa Cruz, is that precedent for terminating a contract with a private company or specifically terminating the use of automated license plate reader cameras?
Yeah, so the proposal that they voted on, in which actually I will say this letter is directly modeled on their proposal, is specifically for terminating their contract with Flock. So this letter is not arguing that we should terminate the usage of ALPRs. Look, I personally don't agree with the use of ALPRs, but I do recognize that they are important for SGPD to use for the safety and security of our city. So this letter is not advocating that we get rid of ALPRs. The letter is advocating that we drop Flock as a provider of those services and as a private company.
Commissioner Park?
Thank you for the letter. Is this service by Flock able to be accessed by other third parties, such as companies or for-profit institutions, or is it just ICE?
So in the past, there have been, so the data breaches that we're talking about, they're not specifically only for ICE. There's a case where I believe around 2.3 million or so license plates were leaked to the public, and they were compiled at a website that specifically does advocacy around Flock called haveibeenflock.com. So you can actually go right now after this meeting and check if your license plate data has been revealed by typing it in on that website. So this is not just a concern where it's specifically only being shared with ICE. I will say that is the main impetus as for why this letter is coming on the agenda today. But this does represent, I would like to be clear, a risk for all data in all regards.
Commissioner Babu?
All right, thank you so much for that. I just want to quickly chime in and ask or suggest something to add to the letter. I'm pretty sure you mentioned that other cities or municipalities have added or like discontinued the use of flock. And I was wondering if we had any substantial data on how the removal of flock has affected the city and the safety around the city. And if we could potentially add that to our letter to counter argue and say that the removal of flock isn't directly going to affect the safety of our city. It would more so be that we don't want the company, but we still want security and safety and cameras around San Jose. Do we even have data about that? Because I'm pretty sure it's very recent.
Yeah, this is all this year, so I don't think there really is a
Yeah.
broad bit of data for that. I will say that there has been a past controversy wherein I believe San Marino, Flock overstated their crime reduction effects in the city. So there is precedent to show that they might not be having as big an effect as they may claim. But frankly, we really don't know. If it does help, I did actually go through crime data, and prior to the installation of flock cameras, we did have lower incidences of priority 1 and priority 2 violent crime. Now, granted, that could be for a whole litany of other reasons, and I'm not going to say that that can only be pointed to as like flock is like ineffective, but I will say that there's precedent that we can have these kinds of steps in crime reduction without necessarily the usage of flock. And again, this is going to be an inconvenience for SGPD up until a replacement is found. And hopefully that's going to be as expedient as possible.
Yeah, thank you. And I think, yeah, I think it would be very useful if we add a statement about how flock is not the only reason to why we have reduced crime rates around San Jose. It could be other, like, it might be a hypothetical to add to the letter, but I think it would be useful information to counter argue for the use of flock. Thank you.
Commissioner Yu.
This is a great letter, but I had a really quick question about all the text that's like struck through. I don't really know, but like, will they remain in the letter in like the final draft, or like, are they going to be deleted, or is there like potential to keep it?
I think you're looking at the memo version, and that's the letter version is different. So
Oh, am I looking at the wrong thing?
maybe. So
Oh,
what we
I
will be sending, might be looking at my notes, but what's written there is more or less similar, but the actual letter we will sending will be a different
Wait,
version.
so this is just like a draft?
Basically, yes.
We removed the letter for daisy chain reasons.
Hmm?
For
You're
city
basically
reasons.
looking at like an outdated version, if that makes sense.
The memo is not the letter. It is different because the memo is more so the topic it's on versus the letter is what is directly sent to the council.
Yeah, so I'm asking like, this is like, the content of this is like still like,
It's still roughly the same, Micah, right?
It's a lot shorter, but the gist of it is the same. Yes.
You'll
Okay.
see it soon, the letter. All right, Commissioner Park.
I know you said there's alternative services that could replace Flock. Would that impact the budget or SJPD in any way in how they perform their safety?
Yeah, so unfortunately, we don't have I believe we don't have the SGPD rep here to answer. But out of there's 4 alternatives I listed. These are just like from like a quick Google search. I'm sure with time, city staff could have a more comprehensive list recommendations. But there's a company called Rumbus, there's a company called Verkada, another one called Sound Thinking, and another one called Axon that I just looked at, and I thought these seem more or less to do the same things that Flock does. In terms of the budget, I believe that termination of the contract, at least if it's similar to what happened in Santa Cruz, there'll be around a month period where that whole process will take place, and after that we'll have to look for a different company. So I'm not entirely sure as to how large any budget disruption would be, or again, we don't really know the scale of any potential disruption for public safety as of this moment. We don't really have a lot of data to work off of in that sense. But ideally, it is a short-term disruption.
Commissioner Babu.
I just quickly want to ask, I know you mentioned the other companies. I just did a quick research, like quick Google search. I'm pretty sure that San Jose, I'm not sure if this is accurate, but I'm pretty sure San Jose has an allocated budget for safety and security and flock cameras to be specific. So if we do get rid of flock cameras, we would still have a decent amount of budget to compensate and bring up another service. So I think you should definitely add that and say we're not going to be like, it might be a little bit more expensive, but we definitely do have an allocated set budget that the city of San Jose has to spend.
All right. Any more discussion? Nothing at all. Okay. So in a few seconds, I'm going to ask for a motion authorizing Commissioner Chung to draft a letter incorporating the ideas discussed by the commission, and this draft letter will be reviewed by library staff and chair. Upon completion, the letter will be signed by the chair on behalf of the Youth Commission. So in addition to the original letter which Commissioner Chung presented tonight, here are the points which we will add as a commission. In it, we want to include that we acknowledge the technology importance of ALPR cameras, and we want to include clear language that the commission is not against ALPR technology, and we are instead focusing on the flock contract cancellation. Secondly, we want to disclose contract information for future private ALPR agreements. Thirdly, we want to add a statement for the indirect correlation between safety levels and flock cameras being insignificant. Okay. Can I please get a motion?
I, Commissioner Pradeep Kumar, motion to authorize Commissioner Chung to draft the letter incorporating the adopted language from the Youth Commission that we discussed today.
Could I please get a second?
I, Commissioner Babu, second the motion.
All right. Please vote on your screens. All those in favor, vote aye. All those opposed, vote nay. And all abstentions also vote on your screen. All right, this vote unanimously passes. Moving on to item number 5, reports and information only. We have our Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Services report from Lauren Box, who is on Zoom, I assume.
Good evening, commissioners and members of the public. Give me just a moment, please. Fabulous. Oops. All right, thank you so much. My name is Lauren Box, Recreation Superintendent for the Department of Parks, Recreation, Neighborhood Services. I'm happy to share a few big updates with you along with members of the public. So an exciting time. The department is hosting several recruitments for our summer hiring. We have everything from lifeguards to camp counselors for family camp to our traditional recreation leader position and assistant pool managers as well. So we encourage folks to look at these, as some of them actually close today, the 23rd of February, and then some of them will actually be closing later this week. So if you are interested in joining the Parks and Recreation family, we encourage you to apply, but also respond quickly as things do move very quickly. Additionally, we are gearing up for the summer season, like I mentioned, and so we have summer camps that are open for registration and encourage folks to check out their local community centers, as there are still plenty of spots at all of our locations across the city, from Almaden to Evergreen to Mayfair and Roosevelt. So check that out. In some cases, scholarship may be expended, but there's always opportunities for additional funds to become available, as we encourage folks to get out to their community center and register themselves. Another cool program, if you hadn't heard, is our late night gym program over at the Seven Trees Community Center. This had shifted from the San Jose Youth Empowerment Alliance over to the Recreation Division of the department. And so every Wednesday from 7 to 9:30 for youth age 12 to 20, the community center is open for recreation from drop-in sports, basketball, futsal, soccer, and volleyball. And then there's food and guest speakers and support programs to help youth as well. Again, in the spirit of summer, Just reminding the public that we have our recreation swim opportunities at our 4 locations across the city: Camden, Mayfair, Rotary Ryland, and Fair Swim Center. The pools will open for recreation swim on June 15th and will be running all the way through August 8th. The hours are going to vary slightly by location, but generally the same across the board. This is free for all residents, so there's no fee to participate in recreation swim, and encourage folks to get there and get a break from the heat once the summer gets underway. In exciting news, our parks team is going to begin construction of the Tyco Bridge, which is the image you see on the screen before you. This, if you recall, in 2017 was damaged by the flood, and so the team has been working tirelessly with FEMA and other partners to restore this iconic bridge. So there's a whole social media post talking a little bit more about the Japanese Friendship Garden and the koi fish that have been returned to their home there. So definitely take a gander as the weather gets better. I think tomorrow there's a storm, so that might hinder you, but definitely get out there and visit the park again. We have our Sunday series that just happened yesterday. Yeah, yesterday on the 22nd at Community at the Playa del Rey Park. This coming Sunday, we'll have another community day at Starboard Park. So if you're looking to give back or work on your volunteer hours, those are great opportunities to do so. Again, with our parks division, they have a couple of great opportunities coming for the summer season and spring as well. So over at the Action Sports Park, which is at Lake Cunningham, there's opportunities for folks to do drop-in sporting in the skate park and around the area as well. They're offering bike lessons and skate lessons for folks that are interested in developing or fostering those skills. All of the information is available on the department webpage, but also on sjregistration.com, where you can get all of your up-to-date information, not just for activities at Lake Cunningham Action Sports Park, but all of our other facilities as well. Over in the community service division, we are starting the spring season with several dumpster days. There's a lot of reoccurring events, so keep that in mind. And Bakesto Park, on the first Friday of each month, they will be offering dumpster days for residents between 8 and 11:30 a.m. And then Mayfair Community will be the second Saturday of the month, followed by Seven Trees on the third Saturday of the month. And then lastly, the Starboard Youth Center on the fourth Saturday of the month. So those are all opportunities for folks in those neighborhoods to make sure there's no extra trash surrounding there and get it out of their homes and spaces. But in the event that you do see some illegal dumping or graffiti, around the city, we definitely encourage folks to report via 311 or online so that teams can get out there in a timely manner to get those addressed. And with that, as a reminder to all, make sure to follow the department on all of the social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, X, Nextdoor, and YouTube, just to stay up to date for all of the fun and exciting things. And with that, end of my report.
Thank you so much for joining us on Zoom, Ms. Fox. It was lovely seeing you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have our San Jose Library report from our very own senior librarian, Megan Malloy.
Black History Month at SJPL. So in celebration of Black History Month, the San Jose Public Library invites you to explore the amazing achievements and culture of Black Americans through the library's collection, events, and reading lists. SJPL is also proud to have hosted 2 special exhibits. Art of the African Diaspora Art supports artists of African descent in the Bay Area and was on display until this past Sunday, February 22nd, on the 2nd floor of King Library. Black Spartans explores the history and lives of some of the first Black students at San Jose State University and is on display at various San Jose Public Library locations until March 20th. For a complete list of Black History Month events and reading recommendations, visit sjpl.org/blackhistory. Now available, the San Jose 2026 library cards. As the City of San Jose continues to prepare for this month's March Madness, SJ26 activations, and other major events and experiences coming to the region, we're excited to share that the San Jose Public Library has released a new exclusive SJ26 themed library card, available only at the King Library while supplies last. Learn more at sjpl.org/SJ26. You are all invited to celebrate the Persian New Year, Nowruz, at the San Jose City Rotunda on Saturday, March 14th from 2 to 5 p.m. The celebration includes remarks from San Jose Council members George Casey, Anthony Tordillos, and Rosemary Kamei, and will feature performances by Amir School of Music and Beshkan Dance Academy, as well as fun activities provided by Bree Crabtree's Silly Circus. The event is free and made possible by the generous support of the Friends of the Almaden Branch and West Valley Branch libraries. Find more details at sjpl.org/Nowruz. Free tax help available at the library. Prepare your 2025 taxes at San Jose Public Library with tax assistance from volunteers at TaxAid, Tax Fellows, and Volunteer Income Tax VITA tax programs. These organizations provide free tax preparation for qualifying taxpayers with an income of less than $70,000. Tax help is available at select SJPL locations, and some locations have volunteers who may assist in other languages, including Spanish, Vietnamese, and Chinese. To view the list of participating library locations, to access other free tax resources at the library, visit sjpl.org/taxes. And SJPL Service Day was another success. The San Jose Public Library celebrated its annual Service Day event Saturday, February 7th in honor of National Library Lovers Month. The system-wide event welcomed a total of nearly 100 participants who helped beautify their chosen library location by cleaning and tidying it up to make it even more welcoming to the community. We thank everyone who participated and invite you to learn about our current volunteer opportunities by visiting sjpl.org/volunteer.
Thank you, Miss Megan. All right, moving on. I have my commission chair report. I just have a few reminders for you guys. All right, so reminder, this Saturday is our budget summit. We have a 10 a.m. arrival time. All commissioners are required to attend and be on time. If you can be a little early, before 10, that would be great as well. Also, I'm trying to schedule a last minute meeting this week for breakout groups so we know how those work for Saturday. Please let me know times that work for you. If you can't come, that is okay, but make sure you meet on your own with your breakout partner for this Saturday. We already published the groups, and it should also be in your slideshow script at the very end. All right, next, project proposals. Some were not approved for this month. Please send me a message and keep me updated with all the reasons you were told yours has not been approved yet so that I know and can help you through the process, especially since we had so many lined up for February, but only a few got approved. It's very important that we get through them, especially for March, since March and April are our last meetings of the fiscal year. So please let me know, send me a text, and communicate with both me and Neha, preferably in a group chat. All right, that is all for my chair report. Moving on to district reports. District 1.
Okay, so sorry, my voice is horrible today. I'm so sorry, but first starting off with what my YAC has done. In January, we hosted a daffodil planting at Murdoch Park in partnership with the District 1 Leadership Group, and that was a pretty great success. And we had a pretty good turnout as well with our YAC members. And along with that, we've recently had a meeting with the Adopt a Storm Drain group in Parks and Recreation. And we're hoping to work with them and try to bring more awareness to the program, especially during their presentations throughout May and summer after that. Besides that, we have our groups working on their project proposals. We've recently combined our education group's project proposal with District 4's AIM event. So that's going to be great. We're going to have a lot bigger turnout for both of our events. And then for my role as a communications officer, on social media, I want to try doing more interactive elements because I was trying to wonder what was happening with the budget priorities survey and how social media didn't end up getting a lot of the responses. So I'm thinking if I add more interactive elements into social media itself, then people are more likely to click on the QR code when they're scrolling through Instagram. So yeah, that's just preparing for next year as well. So yeah, thank you so much.
All right, District 2.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Regarding updates for my YAC, we've been meeting to discuss the upcoming Culture Fest, in collaboration with District 1 and District 9. And we've also been revising our sex education resources policy that we've been working on for the past fiscal year. And we're just looking to see if we can make any changes and additional research. In addition to that, the District 7 Commissioner and I met with 2 representatives from the Red Poppy Institute, which is a youth-led nonprofit dedicating to addressing period poverty and ensuring access to period products and menstrual health education. Additionally, on February 8th, I went to the State of the City hosted by the mayor's office. So that was something I attended with a YAC member. And regarding District 2 specific things, we hosted a tulip planting at Stipe Elementary School. And that was really a successful event. We had over 45 youth, I think, from the Boys and Girls Club who came to help us. And I think we ended up planting over 400 tulips, if I'm not wrong. I don't know the exact number. But yeah, that was a really fun event. And I would like to thank our chair, Kuchereski, for helping out with that as well. And additionally, I've been attending the District 2 Neighborhood Leadership Council meetings as much as I can to get more involved with District 2 and the neighborhood associations with that. And regarding the community ad hoc, we've been kind of in a pause regarding the mural situation. And we're going to be meeting with a representative from PRNS, the District 2 office, and as a community ad hoc sometime in early March. So if you're in the community ad hoc, please be on the lookout for a message regarding details for that. Yeah.
All right, thank you. District 3?
Perfect. Hope you guys had a good winter break. So for District 3, we just had our final neighborhood cleanup that for this year with Beautify SJ. We're thinking of expanding to a bigger program for larger cleanup areas around District 3. So that's a new program that's going to come pretty soon. We're also planning on doing something for my school where we're going to have a wall full of opportunities for youth. That's going to be in the main entrance of our school, just being able to make these opportunities that we hear in the Youth Commission more accessible to people in District 3. And we should be, oh, and I wanted to say, Micah, loved your letter. Wasn't able to say it at the moment, but I did love it. And definitely we'll be talking about it in the immigration ad hoc since that is a really good step forward. And yeah.
All right, thank you. District 4?
Awesome. Hi everyone. Okay. So I've been working on a couple project proposals and policy proposals with my team. We've been working on a couple immigration stuff that I plan to present to the immigration ad hoc as well. But it's especially just targeting bringing red cards to libraries and community centers and so on. We recently also held our Go Green Careers event, which was it wasn't marketed a lot, but we had a decent turnout, so it was pretty good. And I've been working on meeting with my council member, David Cohen, to come up with a couple of problems that he sees around the city and a couple of problems I've been seeing around the city to basically lay out a brochure and getting youth input on it. So I'll be working on that a little more throughout the next couple of weeks. And yeah, I've been working on AIM with David, Kyle, and Anushka. So we'll be doing that as well. So if you guys have any cool people you know and you want to have them at AIM and you have their contacts, just send them over my way and I'd love to reach out to them and see if they want to be a guest speaker. But yeah, thank you guys.
All right, thank you. District 6?
Hi, everyone. With my YAC, we have a few things that are currently in progress we're working on. Number one is we've been reporting on the VTA bus stops in District 6, specifically about whether there's issues like safety with trash on the ground that could cause hazards or graffiti. And so recently members of my YAC went to the VTA Commission's meeting and presented in open forum about an idea we have to make reporting on these issues easily accessible for all people in the community. So we're working on progress with that. Also drafting up some proposals for some events focusing on lifting up culture of the youth. So yeah, that's everything. Thank you.
Thank you. District 7?
For District 7, our YAC has been working on the Creative Futures Fair. Sorry. We've been planning for the Creative Futures Fair. Currently, our date and location have not yet been confirmed, but we are working really hard to be in communication with YB staff and advisors about that. Nevertheless, my YAC has been working tirelessly to plan for this event. We are also anticipating to work on the AIM event with D4 and D1, and also an immigration workshop with D1. So we're looking forward to that. And as for my outreach officer responsibilities, I sent out many emails to school administrators and principals to send out the budget summit invitations, and we only have 13 spots left. So it's looking really good. And yeah.
All right, thank you. District 8?
So since the last time we've met, I had the privilege of attending the Brigadoon Neighborhood Association meeting and also engaged in dialogue with community members and city employees in my area about the flock letter that we just reviewed. District 8 continued to support the Welch Park Food Drive, and I'm proud to say that the Welch Park Neighborhood Association has successfully distributed food assistance to hundreds of families within District 8 this month. Members of the YCC also attended my District 8 Councilmember Domingo Candelas' budget breakfast and got insight into the budget priorities of many community members and some youth. And we supplemented that knowledge with 2 separate canvassing events led by YCC co-chairs specifically targeted for youth budget priorities. We are continuing to work on revising policy suggestions for Councilmember Candelas and stay engaged with the needs of our community over in District 8.
All right, thank you. District 9?
Good evening, everyone. Not much happening really. My YAC has been working on the tree planting proposal. Hopefully they'll go on the next meeting agenda. Sorry, I'm blanking. We're also working on Culture Fest, and now that the proposal's approved, we'll start reaching out to schools. And then as for the immigration ad hoc, we've had a meeting, I think a week after the last meeting. It went pretty well, and to everyone on the immigration ad hoc to look out for a message from me to plan our next meeting. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. District 10?
Hello. We have a Youth Connect event that's on Wednesday, February 25th. That's coming up. I'll keep you guys updated. Councilmember Casey will be present along with our very own Megan and Hema. And then we had a Justice for All nonprofit policy workshop that occurred this past weekend on Saturday. And our YAC helped to advertise for that event, and YAC members did attend, and I took notes, which I will share with Emily. And then the budget summit, my YAC will be attending. I think we are close to 10 in our YAC, I believe. And then for our Almaden Lake Park cleanup, we have moved it to Sunday, March 1st at 8:30 a.m. And then we are planning some policies in our YAC that I will disclose in the future. And then I am working on tree planting with Marion and Ruby, and AIM with Akshata and the rest of the commissioners.
All right, thank you. For my report, my YAC has been meeting a little bit. So at the beginning of the month in February, we had a meeting at the Rose Garden Library. And then we were also having one on March 5th. It should either be at Bascom or Willow Glen Library. And then a few other updates. As Kyle said, I'm working on the tree planting with him. And that's pretty much it. Oh, also my YAC is looking forward to helping out David with the Creative Futures Fair in any way we can. It's probably going to be through participants helping out on the day of. All right, thank you. Okay, moving on to items for future commission meeting agendas. Are there any items the commission wants to add to the agenda for the future? All right, moving on. Our next youth commission meeting is on Monday, March 23rd, 2026 in the City Council chambers. Could I please get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I, Commissioner Babu, motion to adjourn the meeting.
And a second?
I, Commissioner Park, second this motion.
All those in favor, please vote on your screens. All those who oppose and abstain also vote on your screens. All right, this meeting is adjourned at 7:51 p.m. Are you smiling?